Hello guys, welcome to a makeup tutorial video. So I did this makeup transformation on this beautiful lady who helps us at home, and it turned out so amazing. I thought I would share. First things first, skin prep. Start by priming the face. Primer is so important as it helps you have a smooth surface, and it helps give you an easier time when you're blending your product. Next thing is using brow soap. Brow soap is one of my favorite makeup products. I use that to help me lay the brow hairs to flow to one direction, which helps me getting a very beautiful natural finish on my brows. So after using the brow soap, I take my Davis No. 3 pencil and just start filling in. I mostly apply the pencil, use the pencil to mimic the brow hairs and fill in the areas where there are gaps, the areas where the hairs have not grown so well. Yeah, make sure there are no gaps. At the front part you want to draw hair like strokes and brush the brows. Before concealing, always make sure you use a spoolie brush to brush the brows. The most important step is making sure the brows are well brushed, and then defining the brows with concealer to perfect them. I like to use a legal concealer. It is very easy to use, affordable, and has good coverage. On the top part of the brows, I like to use foundation, the foundation shade of the model. That's what I use. And also for the front part of the brows, I like to use a bit of the foundation to make the front part of the brow very natural. Moving on to eyeshadow, I start by applying a very light concealer shade on the eyelids. This will help the colors of the eyeshadow to pop, and also will give us a nice surface to work on, making blending the eyeshadows very easy. And before you start applying the eyeshadow, you want to make sure the eyes have not creased. And also, this is a very important tip that I'm sharing with you guys. You can use your face powder or a setting powder to set below the eyebrows. That part where we concealed using concealer to define the brows, you set it with a powder, because when you use a cream product, you always want to set it with a powder. And because we won't be applying eyeshadows there, that's why we use the powder. This is the beautiful palette that we are using by Dolly Cosmetics. And before I start applying the eyeshadow, my eyes had creased, the client's eyes had creased, so I'm just taking a fluffy brush and setting that with a little bit of concealer, and also taking another brush to make sure the eyes have not creased. So I started by applying a brown shade from the Dolly Pinky palette. This is my favorite color in most eyeshadow palettes. This nice brown shades. You can see it's almost even over in my palette. I use it in almost all my looks. It makes a very good transition color. So I started by applying that, and then I blended out and set the brow bone area with an off-white color. I know it looked yellow on the palette, but it's actually an off-white color to basically highlight the brow bone. Then going back to my powder, I always have my powder near me when I'm doing eyeshadow looks, because I find blending eyeshadow colors using powder very easy. And also to apply the powder at the front part below the eyebrow, because you won't take eyeshadow there, so instead of leaving it blank, you just apply your powder. Then I took a white eyeshadow primer, because the color I wanted to use on the lid is very bright, so I wanted the eyeshadow primer to give me a base for that. So just I didn't literally cut the crease, but I used tapping motions to apply the eyeshadow primer in the shape that I wanted to place my eyeshadow, which is sort of a half cut crease. So just tap that in. Take your time when you're doing this, and if you don't have an eyeshadow primer, no worries, you can also use the same concealer you used to set the eyes. So then taking this off-white eyeshadow shade, it's a matte shade. For this look I used matte shades and then added glitter, as you will see. So you just take the matte shade with a flat brush, or you see the brush that you use to conceal the brows. a flat concealer brush, this is the best for this. You use a flat brush to pack matte shades on the lid. It really works amazing. So I just went back and forth until I got the finish that I wanted, an opaque, really pigmented color payoff with my eyeshadow. I then decided to add a bit of color, so I took this sort of purple lilac shade from the same Dolly Pinky palette. This palette has really pigmented and beautiful colors, so I added that between our lid shade and the brown color. So this is just sort of forming a transition between them, and will also help the eyeshadow to pop a little bit. Instead of being like a total nude shade, it will give us that beautiful pop of color, as you can see. Then again, back to my powder to blend off the edges. Powder is very important when you're doing this. I decided to add some glitter on the look, but not the entire look, just at the area where I've placed the purple eyeshadow, because I had purple glitter. So normally I would use white eyelash glue, the one that dries clear, but I didn't have, so I used the black one that I had available. And the purpose of the glue is to hold on to the glitter, so that when I'm done with the look, the glitter won't fall off. So I then took my W7 liquid eyeliner. I really love this eyeliner because it dries matte. It has a matte finish and it really has good pigmentation. And I wanted to do a very nice cat eye. This sort, when I do matte shades, matte looks rather on the eyes, I love to do a cat eye. I find it really goes well with matte eyeshadow colors. Yeah, so I basically just did the eyeliner on both eyes, as you can see. I then went ahead to pop in some eyelashes. I didn't want to do very dramatic eyelashes. This was the first time this model was having makeup done, like the first time to have any sort of makeup. The only thing she does is maybe powder. She's never done eyeshadow before, so I didn't want to do very dramatic lashes so that she would be comfortable. So yeah, I don't really have like many things to say about eyelashes. As long as you're using a good eyelash glue and you have measured the eye, you should be able to achieve a beautiful look with eyelashes. Then I went ahead to clean the face of the eyeshadow fallout, reapplied primer below the eyes, and then took my concealer, which is illegal in the shade Toffee. This is like 2 or 3 shades lighter than her skin. No, actually 2 shades lighter than her skin. I don't apply foundation normally below the eyes to prevent a lot of creasing, so I applied the concealer first. I wanted to like blend everything together, as you're gonna see in a few. So I applied the concealer on all the areas that I normally highlight, and then took this was Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade 380, which is a really dark foundation shade, and I used that to apply along the perimeters of her face, the place where you'd normally contour, to give the face some definition. Contouring just makes me so happy because it gives you this, you know, structure on the face. Then I went ahead to use her foundation shade number 360 of Maybelline Fit Me foundation, and applied that on the other areas where I have not highlighted or contoured. Those are the areas that I applied the foundation. So the foundation is gonna help blend everything together and create a beautiful balance to this look. And now we go to my favorite part, blending. I started by blending the dark colors. That's whenever I want to blend everything together, I start by blending the dark colors. That would be the contour, and then heading on to blending the highlight. So I used this very dense foundation brush because it just makes work easier. When you have a very dense foundation brush, it will help you blend foundation very quick. And then took my beauty blender, which is obviously damp. You want to use a damp beauty blender to avoid the beauty blender sucking off your product. So I was alternating between the beauty blender and the brush. So I blend the concealer below the eyes with the beauty blender, and then I take the brush that I blended the foundation with and use it to sort of diffuse the edges of where the concealer is ending. Yeah, to make sure everything is seamless and we don't have lines. So I can say what really took me time when doing this look was blending, because I always want all products to sort of match each other, like blend into each other for a flawless finish. So more blending, more blending, more blending. So after I was satisfied, I took my favorite setting powder, which is J-Cut banana powder. This is a very affordable yet effective setting powder, and you want to apply the setting powder on all the areas you highlighted. The areas we placed the light concealer, those are the areas we place the setting powder. Now the use of the setting powder is to avoid creasing and also to brighten up those areas. Then another favorite product of mine, liquid blush. I basically am such a huge fan of blush. Blush brings back color to the face. After applying all those foundations, concealers, powders, I find that blush brings back some vibrance to the face. Then taking her powder shade, which is illegal, in the shade Chestnut, I used that to first of all set the areas where I had highlighted, like use the powder to dust off the highlighting powder, the setting powder rather. I also applied the powder to the rest of the face. So the compact powder, the finishing powder, was basically helping me to blend everything together and set the whole face together, giving me that balanced out blend. So next I took an orange shade from the Dolly Pinky palette as well and placed that below the eyes. And also, unlike the darker brown, I also placed it at the outer part of the eye. As you can see, I don't like leaving the bottom part of the eyes blank. I like adding some eyeshadow as well. Mostly I add the colors that I used at the top, or I just use an orange shade. It always works. Then adding some mascara on the bottom lashes and the top lashes, and then final step, finishing up with some setting spray. This is a step you never want to miss, because setting spray will help the skin look skin-like. So if you don't like looking cakey, maybe you're missing out on setting spray, use some setting spray. Then took my Zaron highlighter palette and took a golden shade and used that to highlight the face, the highest points of the cheeks, on top of the nose, you know, the parts where we normally highlight. And whatever was left on the brush, I like apply on the forehead and the chin to just, I like highlights. What have I not said that I don't like in this video? I love makeup, I love everything. And this is the final look. She really loved the makeup. It was her first time having a full face beat. She was happy with it. I changed up the lipstick to something more natural. I was just trying to experiment and play with makeup. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe. See you on the next one. Bye.